Hi, I just wanted to explore this quote from Kierkegaard from Fear and Trembling because it might be what Aaron's referencing in Paper Hanger. So the full paragraph is, it's on page 44. Abraham, I cannot understand. In a certain sense, I cannot learn anything from him other than to be astonished. If people imagine that by considering the outcome of this story, he's referring to the binding of Isaac or the testing of Abraham, they can let themselves be moved into having faith. They deceive themselves and want to cheat God out of the first movement of faith. They want to suck sage counsel about life out of the paradox. Perhaps someone or other will succeed in this, for our times do not remain standing at faith. With its miracle of turning water into wine, they go further. They turn wine into water. Would it not in fact be best to remain standing at faith? And is it not shameful that everyone wants to go further? So, what Kierkegaard's doing here is he's contrasting the bourgeois view of faith, the worldly view of faith, which he sees in his society in Denmark 200 years ago, with what he sees as like Abraham's faith, a biblical or a gospel view of faith. So, the bourgeois view of faith would be something like God helps me. Okay, God's going to be with me and I'm going to get that next promotion. I'm going to lose weight before summer. I'm going to, you know, do well in life because I have faith in God being for me. And then the idea of going further would be like, oh, well, I can want even more than just my own desires. You know, I can want to help people. I can want to live for eternity. I can, go beyond faith into living outside of myself and beyond myself. And Kierkegaard's view is that this bourgeois idea of faith is nothing like what he sees in the Bible, nothing like what he sees with Abraham being willing to bind Isaac or in the Gospels and so on. So Kierkegaard's view of faith is that it's the second movement of loving God. And the first movement is self renunciation. So it's when you realize that to be true to yourself as a spiritual being, as an eternal being, you need to renounce this world, okay? To give up everything you have, which, for him means that you're not run by the world. You don't ultimately desire material things or temporal things because you're an eternal being. And so, therefore, you renounce the claims that the world has on you. And for Kierkegaard, this is something you do as a human being. This is a human movement, an existential movement, a philosophical movement of detachment, okay? Detachment from materiality and temporality and an acknowledgement or an embrace of spirituality, eternity. And for Kierkegaard, that's the beginning of then having faith. Okay, as C.S. Lewis says, we give everything up in order to receive everything back. So to have faith is to say, well, even though I've renounced the world, even though I'm not run by the world, I'm not connected to the desire for material things and everything that the world has, nonetheless, I have faith that God will provide, that I have a purpose here, that I can live a fulfilling life. And that movement of faith, the second movement, Kierkegaard believes can only come through the Spirit. And he always says that he doesn't have faith, that he hasn't made that movement, that it's easy for him to detach from the world and to not desire all the material things of this world, but to then trust in God, he sees as a chasm that he can't cross, which is why he never became a minister. So, in other words, he views the worldly view of faith as being totally flawed. Okay, it's like someone who's played one game of checkers and thinks that they're a chess grandmaster. It's like you don't even know the rules of chess. You have no idea how far away you are from being a chess grandmaster just because you've played a game of checkers. So for Kierkegaard, you can't really go beyond faith, okay? Because faith is the final movement of trusting only in God, okay? Because you've renounced yourself and you've renounced the world. So he relates a story of someone who says they lost their faith, and he was quite interested in this comment. And having spoken to the person, he concluded that this person never even had faith to lose and never had a clue what faith was. So he's very much mocking this idea that not only can you have faith to turn water into wine, but that you can go beyond faith. You can turn the wine back into water. He says that that's shameful and that really we have no idea what faith even is in a supposedly Christian society. So that would be my understanding, my way of explaining that quote from this very daunting and difficult